Hey, my name is Joseph Anthony Norman, and I'm with FluidLevels.com, and I'm excited to be here on the catwalk.
The Catwalk is proud to partner with Second Story Co-working in downtown Midland. With shared Wi-Fi and free coffee refills, Second Story can help connect you with like-minded business leaders. Visit them today at secondstory.co. There is a powerful story behind every brand, and our mission is to make storytelling easier so you can grow your business. Connect with us today at thecatwalkmediagroup.com. Follow The Catwalk on all your favorite social media platform apps, watch new content on YouTube, or listen in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. I am so excited to welcome into the studio today the celebrity that I know as my good friend, Joseph Norman. Welcome, Joseph. How's it going?
How you doing, Jay? I'm doing wonderful, man.
You are the celebrity. You're the biggest celebrity that I know in Midland right now.
Goodness.
So before we get into oil and gas and some talk about what you do out in the field and all the things that you're involved in with fluid levels and stuff, I want our listeners and viewers to know a little bit about you and your work in films.
Okay.
So I'm going to test the knowledge here. So 4 films you've been in that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
We Are Marshall.
You got it.
Friday Night Lights.
Mm-hmm.
I got them on my notes. The Game Plan.
Yes.
And Invincible.
You got it.
Okay, so out of those, the main characters is what I want to focus on a little bit, okay? All right. So Game Plan was The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Invincible was Mark Wahlberg.
That's correct.
Friday Night Lights was Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes,
and
sir.
We Are Marshall is Matthew McConaughey.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones do you like the best as far as the lead actor?
As far as lead actor, I'll tell you what, man. Mark Wahlberg, I had the most fun with Mark Wahlberg. He was so down to earth. Like, man, you got to think about it. This guy is, Marky Mark. He come from hip hop and then transition into movies, and you think that he's going to be this guy that's like so haughty that he don't know what a little extra peasant is doing on set. But no, he invited the entire. So what I was doing is I was a special ability extra. So all the football scenes in the movies, we performed all of those football scenes, no matter what team it was. So it was probably about 40 guys, and we just shared roles. I mean, probably about 50 guys, and we shared the roles of different teams, different positions, different things like that. So at the end of the day, it was like a real practice. And he would invite us over to his trailer and have his chef cook for us every single night.
Really?
Yeah, he would do that.
So
and
you ate well.
So we ate very well. So we ate craft services during the day, and then at night he would have his chef cook us something for 50 different people.
Wow.
And he did not have to do that. And when we went out and we rolled deep.
Really?
Oh yeah. It was fun, man.
Did you hit like The Rock? Did you tackle him or anything?
No, man, I didn't hit The Rock or to tackle him. See, that was on a different film. So The Rock, he was a little bit more reserved, I guess.
Okay.
More, Mark Wahlberg is super professional,
Right.
good guy, but he was more open to just hanging out and say, hey man, let's go hit 18 holes this weekend, or let's go out this weekend, or something like that. It's just like he's just one of the guys. So I had the best experience with Mark Wahlberg, but everybody was cool though.
Now, where did this love for being in movies or film start?
Man,
you always wanted to do that?
You know what? Because when I was younger, I couldn't decide what I wanted to be, Jay. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna be an actor, so I could just pretend to be everybody. So in junior high, man, I really put that in my head that like, hey, I'm gonna be an actor. I love film. I love creating. I love, just being on set.
Right.
Is fun to me. A lot of people see it as like grueling work, and it is grueling. You got 16-hour days, but the end result is where all the fun happens. You get to release the movie, you get to go to the parties, if it's successful, you get to have fun. You get to have fun.
Okay, so you played football players in the movie and stuff. Do you have a favorite actually football movie? That's not one you've been in?
Well, my favorite football movie is probably, um, man, that's a really good question. You said the one that I haven't been in,
That
and
you
that,
haven't
that
been
makes
in,
it
yeah.
hard because I really
Yeah,
like
'cause you've been
Friday
in
Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights was
I
good.
was in that one, and but you know what? What's the one with Denzel Washington where he coached that team?
Training Day?
Uh, no, not Training Day. It was the
With about the high school football
yeah,
team.
high school
Remember
football
the
team.
Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Great movie.
That was a classic.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed Remember the Titans. The Longest Yard
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
fun one with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
But yeah, Remember the Titans. It was a classic. We watched that all through my teenage years.
Now, We Are Marshall has such a horrible story
Yeah.
of the team that had the plane crash and stuff. And so you were in that movie. What was your role in that one?
So same thing, special ability extra. But what was special about We Are Marshall is that we actually kind of got to live the life of those athletes that perished.
Yeah.
And we did scenes at the cemetery. We walked the same halls that they walked. We were in the same locker room, that they, it was kind of like a real experience. We filmed in West Virginia for the first part of it, and then we filmed in Atlanta. So we kind of embodied being a part of the herd, I guess. And so that was a really special one. It was a really sensitive, production because you're dealing with real people, and you were in the real community that actually felt that loss. So you had to be really respectful, even around the town. Saying, "Hey, those guys are in town filming a movie about our football team." It was a very interesting production.
So football has been in your life, though, for quite some time because, as I recall, you played for Tech. You were a receiver back in 2003.
I was a linebacker. Middle linebacker.
In 03?
Well, that was my last year, 03. Well, 02 was my last year.
Okay, yeah.
I was there from 2000 to 2002 as a middle linebacker.
Right.
But I played mostly special teams. I was a star on special teams because every single snap I was out there on the field. So I made my name on special teams.
Special teams.
And as a backup middle linebacker, you play a lot of special teams. So you don't really get to play very much on defense.
Yeah.
But special teams was my specialty.
Special teams was your specialty. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
So you played under who was your quarterback? Kingsbury?
Cliff Kingsbury, yes, sir.
Did you ever catch a pass from him?
Yeah, in practice.
In practice?
Yeah, practice.
So you didn't have
I picked off a pass from him in practice.
Well, that's even better. So you didn't have a touchdown dance, did you?
I did.
Who has the best touchdown dance right now?
Man, it's got to be Justin Jefferson, man. It's Justin Jefferson with the Vikings.
With the gritty?
Gritty, yeah. He does the little gritty dance. And
that's so cool that you're doing it while you're sitting down. That's amazing.
Because my son, he loves Justin Jefferson. That's his favorite player, so he knows the gritty very well.
Okay, so let's get your history. You're from Midland. So why don't you, for those of us that don't know your story, walk us through childhood into high school, going to Tech to play football, kind of get us to that point.
Well, so born and raised in Midland, Texas, and on the east side of Midland, Texas. And, I was raised in a family that was a broken home, I would say. My parents were divorced when I was in the first grade. That was a traumatic experience that kind of started my whole life off. And so I was raised in a house with a strong-willed, strict father and two brothers. So it was all tough love, I would say, growing up on the east side of Midland, Texas, back in the late 80s and 90s. And football was pretty much all we knew. We knew Lee versus Permian. We hated Midland High, the Bulldogs. And that was just I guess the pigeonhole that we were in. It was like, to escape this reality, football was our main pathway to getting out of here. So we always focus on football. I started out GMFL, Pee Wee Football League, and I went to Abel Junior High, played at Abel, and then went on to play with Coach Parchment at Midland Lee. And the thing about it is, man, I was not very good. everybody expected
I
me
don't
to be
believe
good.
it. I don't
No,
believe it.
I'm telling you, Jay, everybody expected me to be good, but I was not good. I was scrawny. I was like 5'8", 150 pounds in the ninth grade, and like nobody expected anything from me. But my brothers, they're out here getting recruited by everybody in the nation. And they were like, oh, what is that other little Norman going to do? And I'm just like a little runt.
Yeah.
And I had no plans on continuing my football career until my senior year. Well, in between my junior and my senior year, I got a 6-inch growth spurt and I gained like 40 pounds.
Right.
And all of a sudden, as a senior, I'm 6'2", 225. And, things
That's
just
respectable now. Yeah.
things just started clicking for me. And the game made sense. All these years playing football, it finally kind of made sense and clicked. And about halfway in the middle of my senior season, I started getting recruited. And that's when Texas Tech came along and offered me a scholarship. And my girlfriend at the time and my brother was there and all my friends from Midland. I mean, it was just like moving down the street, really. So,
Was
that's
Tech
how I
the
got
only
to Tech.
school that reached out, or was there
Well,
some other smaller ones?
I had three solid scholarships. I tell people that my brothers, Josh and John, they were recruited by everybody in the nation.
Okay.
Everybody in the nation made them an offer. For me, it was three people. It was Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and UT El Paso.
Wow.
So so those were my three choices, and I chose to go to Tech.
Awesome. All right, you graduated from Tech, right? You finished. That was in 02?
Well, no, I'm a dropout, Jay.
You didn't finish.
I did not finish. So I started.
Did you complete your?
No, I have one more year eligibility.
One more year of eligibility.
One more year eligibility.
Really?
Yeah, so I might go back and like strap it on for one more year and see what they got.
They need you
Man.
after what they happened Saturday.
listen,
Yeah, they need you.
that's
another story.
That was a tough loss on Saturday.
So
We
you
lost
got
to
one
Red.
more year of eligibility
Yeah.
to get through, and you don't have that degree,
No, I don't.
right?
No.
Okay, so is that something you want to go back and do?
It has been a goal of mine. But as I get older, I kind of rethink that whole thing. Like, because I've got a education by fire. I was thrown into life and I had to figure things out. And I'm the type of guy that really can't really work for anybody. I can partner all day, but I can't really be an employee and work for somebody. So I had to figure things out myself. And luckily my dad, having his history in the oil and gas, industry, he brought me along and taught me a skill set. So I used that skill set to go out and create a business. So that transition was really tough, difficult. No, it wasn't my choice necessarily to leave. But when I got to Texas Tech, my goal was to be a theater arts major. And when I got
Because of the film.
film?
Yeah.
And what I was told was I would be able to do both things, do football and theater arts. Well, I got to campuses and that was not true. I had to get my shop hours. I had to get my theater hours. I had to get my tutoring hours. I had to go to practice. I had to do film study. And those things just did not work. So I was advised to switch my major to broadcast journalism. Well, what I found out is that I do not want to be a news anchor. And so that's kind of what the classes were about, is about, reading the news and becoming a journalist. And it was really political. It's heavily political. And I was just like, man, this is not interesting to me. So I kind of got, say, burned out. I don't know, but I kind of got disinterested from school. And I just literally just played football the rest of my career after I got disinterested in school. So I never finished, but it's a goal that I wanted to finish. And I promised my grandma I would finish. So I'm going to have to one day. Yeah. But right now, growing a business, raising kids, I think that's my main priority.
Well, I want to get to that business because I know that's where we came in contact. Was with some of the things you're doing with the kids here in Midland, and you got a great story behind Project Lambo. So I want to talk about that in a minute. But get me from you walked off the field for that last time you went into the workforce.
Yeah. So
from there, get me to where you landed back here in Midland.
So I walked away from football and walked directly into Hollywood. And that's how it happened. Okay. It's like soon as I stopped playing football, the opportunity to go to Hollywood. They were filming Friday Night Lights at that time, and they had an open casting call in Odessa. And I went to Odessa and I made the roster, the movie. Right. They hired us, and from that, the relationships, um, that I had on that set kind of brought me to the next movie and then the next movie. So that's what, that's how all that transpired. Then in 2006, I did 4 feature films and I did 1 short film that went to Sundance in 2007. It was called The Grass Grows Green. You can look it up. It's a short film, and I played a guy named Terrence. But after that, that's when I decided to move back to Midland and kind of make a living for myself. And my dad's been my crutch because every time that I needed a job, and I come back to Midland and I had a job available. So
Dad was always there.
He was always there, man. So when I came back to Midland, I had a job and I just kind of started life. That's how it started.
So you're in the oil and gas industry now, right?
Yes.
Have you turned the page on Hollywood? What if they came calling? What if you got a phone call today and said, "Hey, we got this movie coming up with Glenn Powell, and it's a football movie, and we want you to play in it." Would you do that, or are you so invested now that it would be hard to do that?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would do it because I love to do it. But I'm just telling you, man, Ed Sheridan or for Landman, whoever needs to call me, bro. Like, you out in West Texas filming a movie and you haven't called fluid levels, that I don't know about that, man.
Don't know about that.
Something's wrong with that picture,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But no, man, I would love to do more film. And like we had mentioned before off camera, I'm working on a mini doc that is kind of featuring fluidlevels.com. So I'm still doing creative things and still, on social media. That's how I kind of get my creative itch scratched, is just being creative on social media. But I do plan on doing a lot more film in the future.
Well, let's talk about fluid levels.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from, and what's going on in that space?
So back in 2012, my then girlfriend, now wife, Belinda, we started fluidlevels.com as 40 A&M LLC. And it's basically a company designed to help operators optimize artificial lift systems. So people always ask, well, what does that mean? Well, we're just trying to save the operator money, and we're trying to make them more money at the end of the day. So we run surveys and determine how much fluid that they have available to pump. And we run surveys to determine how well their pump is, how efficiently their pump is working. So we run these surveys, we document and we trend the data, and we try to avoid some things on our KPIs that lead to failure. And that's how we help operators optimize their systems, and we make surface improvements and adjustments to help increase production. So,
and how long have you been doing the fluid level space?
12 years now. I've been out for 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Since 2012.
2012, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I think one time you and I spoke, you mentioned there was a little hiccup in life with COVID and the pandemic. As everybody that's pretty much been on the show has said, a new business has launched because of COVID. Oh, yeah. What did the pandemic do for you?
Man, refined me. Made me.
What do you mean?
Well, so when the pandemic happened, my wife was 5 months pregnant, and I had just got word that I lost 95% of my contracts in the oil and gas.
Wow.
And at this time, I had no savings. My wife's pregnant. We got 2 kids at the house, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So when I say refine me, it made me grind harder. It made me pray a lot harder. And it was a point where either I'm going to lose my family and my marriage and my life, my business and everything, or I got to take some drastic action to repair the damage that had been done. It was and that's what I tell my family. I was like, I'm never going to put my family in that position again. I'm the leader. I was the man of the house. I failed to put safeguards in place to protect us from stuff like that. I have all my eggs in one basket with one customer, pretty much, and I just wasn't hedged very well. So that was a big learning lesson for me is to never put your eggs in one basket. Diversify your service offering, and also just don't be one dimensional. Like you can never be one dimensional. So when when COVID happened, I had to pivot real quick, and I pivoted it into a social media agency. So I started creating videos and content for small businesses around town. My wife, she is a licensed counselor, and she opened her practice from our closet and start seeing clients. So that's how we were able to hang on
Wow.
and pay for our insurance. Because if you don't renew your insurance, then you lose your MSA. You lose your ability to service or to provide services
With your clients.
with my clients. So that's how we hung on. Like my wife had to go back to work, and she's over here pregnant and having a baby, and I'm over here scraping, trying to pull something together. And it was, it just kind of made me who I am today.
How many kids do you have?
We have 4.
You have 4.
Yeah.
So what's life been like in the business world since COVID?
Well,
Since you had that learning experience.
it was hard the first. So we had a lot of challenges the first 2 years, but in 2022 things kind of opened up, and I got a lot of business real fast. And then I was at the beginning of this year, I was on the opposite end of that. I was like completely burnt out and was ready to give it up.
Already?
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you, like when you take in 2 a.m. calls, like for 2 years straight,
Ooh.
and you don't have no break and nobody to cover for you and different things like that, because I was doing everything on my own, because I had to scale back up in order to afford an employee.
Right.
So I was doing everything on my own, and it took me about 2 years to burn out between kids and family and chasing 2 a.m. calls, and I was running 24 hours a day. And so things really picked up in 2022, and got the ability to dig us out of the hole, but it was tough digging.
So you got on the right side of
Yeah.
making money and pushing the narrative now coming out of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere along the line, and you're talking about being burned out already 2 years into that, right, of
Yeah.
where we sit. But somewhere along the line, you had a need to reach out into the community,
Right.
and you started what's known as Project Lambo.
Yeah.
Where did that obviously, what does that stand for? But where did this come from?
So I'll tell you the story. So me and my son Maxwell, he's our 13-year-old. We're driving down the loop, and we see a Lamborghini pass us going really fast. Phew. And he's like,
Midland?
in Midland.
There's a Lamborghini in Midland. Okay.
It's a couple of them.
Yeah.
On the West Loop. So a Lamborghini passes. Oh my gosh, I want a Lambo. I was like, son, do you know what it takes to buy one of those Lambos? I was like, you gotta learn about money.
At 13, yeah.
Oh yeah, at 13, you got to learn about business,
Mhm.
and you got to be able to recognize opportunities. And when I said that, I went back and I thought about it. I was like, man, that's a really good acronym. LAMBO, Lambo, learning about money, businesses, and opportunities. And so I was like, this is something that I can probably teach kids, especially now. And I say now, this was in 2021. So we were knee deep in the pandemic. And I was like, I want to teach financial literacy, but have a focus on digital trade skills. Because if I teach a kid how to build a business and someone says, oh, you got to shut your doors, or you can only have 25% patrons in here, or,
Right.
you're not allowed to be open. They closed the gyms. They closed the restaurants. Storefronts were closed. Like everything was shut down.
Sure.
So I was like, I'm going to have a digital focus. And if kids want to learn about doing a podcast, if they want to learn about a YouTube channel, if they want to learn about an e-commerce, if they want to learn about coding and any trade that's why I call it a digital trade skill. That's what I want to deploy, and I want to give these kids the opportunity to learn that. So Carl Borowski, we became friends, and we started meeting. And I love Carl because he really is the one that pushed me to do this program.
Right.
So I pitched.
He has a way of doing that.
He does, man. He does. He's all action, very little talking, all action. And he told me, he was just like, man, this is a great idea. I think you should do it. And I'm just like, whoa, wait a minute, Carl. I don't even have a curriculum. Like, what are you talking about? He said, man, you'll figure it out. Just
That's
go.
Carl. Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Go.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. Just go get it. And that's what I did, man. So he introduced me to the counselor and to the principal over at Jane Long.
Mm-hmm.
And we started delivering this as an after school program from 3 to 4 with a small group of kids, because we got like a small room. So it's about a dozen kids. And I started like from scratch teaching children about financial literacy. So
Are you still doing that?
I am still doing
Yeah?
it. Yeah. So the next semester we'll be doing it. And my kids that I started out with in 2021 in the 4th grade, they're junior high now. So I've been doing this for 3 years now. And so it's been very rewarding. We had companies like Champion X invite us in at the end of the semester, and we did kind of like a mini Shark Tank. We had our kids.
Nice.
Yeah. We had our kids break down into little groups with their executives.
Right.
And we had like a little pitch competition. I mean, it was a blast. The kids, they've never been in an office setting like that. They've never seen, that. So introducing them to that is just great, man. I love it.
Wow. So tell me more about your community involvement. I know that this is a passion of yours to teach.
Mm-hmm.
First off, does he have a good understanding now where he can get a Lambo?
He's there? Getting better.
He's getting better.
Getting better. He's definitely learning, because what I know as a parent is more is caught than taught. So I know that he sees me and his mama grinding.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's definitely going to rub off on him. So we're going to set an example of how he can do it.
Well, tell me more about your community involvement. What are some other projects that you want to work on or that you are working on?
So right now I'm working on a project with Carl Borowski and Angel Garcia. What we want to do is, you know how to have the Midland Entrepreneurs Challenge? Mm-hmm. We want to do a Youth Entrepreneurs Challenge. So open it up for youth and teaching them about financial literacy, but also giving them an opportunity to raise funds for themselves and kind of start their business. So that's one thing we're doing. And I'm really involved with my church and the youth programs over there. And that's pretty much
awesome.
What I'm doing.
Let's get back to media part, because I follow you on social and you're on TikTok everywhere. How important is media into the field that you're involved in? Because when most people think oil and gas, they don't think TikTok. They don't think media. How have you leveraged that space to promote you?
Well, it was really easy because nobody else was really doing it. Mm-hmm. So, when I look at, oil and gas, and you want to look up oil and gas content, is like when I started, it was very little content out there.
Right.
And so, actually, this comes from my wife, Belinda. She said that, when things got slow in 2021, she said, you need to start posting on TikTok every single day. And you're going to get business from that. I was like, it'll be fun. I probably won't get business from it, but it'll be fun to do and just document my experiences in the oil field. And so I was like, sure, I'll throw it out there. I've actually been filming video ever since I got an iPhone. So I got 10 years worth of footage on my iPhone. So what I did is I just stayed up every night and I just start posting videos. And I started growing my TikTok, and I actually forgot about it. And I looked back one day, I had like 5,000 followers. I was like, oh, whoa, what happened? It's like, I got 5,000 followers? Like, I haven't checked it in a few weeks. And like, what happened? And one video blew up. And so I was like, oh. So when you get that momentum, you want to post more. And you want to engage more. So I started doing that. And then I started posting on Facebook. And I started posting on YouTube and kind of spreading out my content. And it was a lot of people reached out because they was like, man, how do you get into that job? Like, how do you do that? Or like, what does it take? And it's kind of like, introducing somebody or showing somebody something that they've never seen before. They heard about it, but they never seen somebody actually out on location. You got a lot of corporate videos that are really polished and stuff like that, but mine is just raw in the field, and you get what you get. It
because
does
you've
work.
got a lot of followers,
a
lot of content out there.
Not only followers, but I will say, Jay, actual business. I've actually gotten customers and clients from Instagram messengers. I've
Really?
actually gotten clients from Facebook Messenger.
Hmm.
I've actually got a client today. What's today? October 21st. I
Yeah.
got a client today that called me, and I think they found me. They had to have found me on the web because they called my 800 number.
Right.
So it's real. And the people that you're looking for, they're on the internet. They're on
They're
every
everywhere. Yeah.
social media platform.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
true. Let's pivot a little bit because I want you to talk a little bit about what your advice would be. So you talked about helping kids,
Mm-hmm.
like with Carl, and I'm working toward a couple of vocational trades pieces that is going to complement what you're doing, and that's kind of another reason why we've met and talked.
Mm-hmm.
But what would your advice be to, say, a 25-year-old who's just coming out of college, maybe, or maybe they dropped out of college, whatever the case may be? What would you say to them? What would your advice be to that aspiring entrepreneur that didn't have maybe somebody like yourself walking you through junior high and high school to learn some of those things, and they're wanting to launch and start a business? What would that advice look like?
That advice would look like start studying your industry and start studying business. So I would go to every workshop, every conference, every training. I would go to the UTPB Small Development, the SBDC Small Development Center. I would get counseling from them. I would do, I would stay up all night doing all kinds of research, man. You got YouTube University. You got everything that you want to learn is available to you. Now, what you have to do is you have to focus on that and weave through all the distractions, because once you're on social media, you're not just on social media with you and your thoughts. You got everybody else's thoughts, and you got all of these different entities trying to get your attention too. So when I say for young people, you got to find the ability to focus. We got so many distractions, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like with this phone in your hand, though, you can run a multi-million-dollar business with this phone in your hand. And that's what's available to us. That was not available to me when I was 25. But right now, our 25-year-olds, you can run a whole business from this phone. So do whatever you can to focus on your industry, focus on business principles, learn about business, talk to people, take people to coffee that you respect and that you admire, and who has what you want, and go buy them a coffee and see if you can help them provide value. That's what I would do.
That's a good word. I appreciate that. I appreciate your time and obviously getting to know you. And I went back and watched a couple of those movies, knowing you
Yeah.
were coming on the show. You were younger
Yes.
back there in some of those, so
I
that's
was.
that's awesome. But I want to wrap this up. I always like to kind of go into two questions that are more just about you and about
Mhm.
what your vision is and what you want to accomplish. Just as we're sitting at this table, having a conversation, I'm a huge advocate for we decide who we're going to allow to pour into our life, who we're going to listen to. You talked about using the phone, and there's so much out there on social media, and sometimes that can get distracted and inundated, and you don't know who to listen to. Who does Joseph listen to?
Man, you know what? I listen to God, and I listen to my elders,
Hmm.
because they are the ones who have experienced more life than I have, and they've probably seen things two or three times that come around. So that's who I listen to. I listen to my elders. I listen to my dad, and most of all, I listen to God, man. I listen to my intuition.
Hmm.
I try not to. I try not to shun anybody. Like, I'll hear anybody out, and at the end of the day, I'll make my own conclusions of
Hmm.
what that is. And really, the way I do that is you gather all of this information, right? And then you take this information, and then you open the Word, and you compare that information to the Word of God.
Hmm.
And if you do that, you got a formula for every single thing.
Hmm.
Like, you can gather all your answers and resources from that method. Take what everybody else is saying, and compare it to the Word of God and see if they match. If they don't match, then I'm sorry for you.
That's a good word from Fluid Levels right there.
There you
We'll
go.
mark it down. Hey, one last question before I let you go. I read an article about you from several years ago when you were at Tech. And this is what it says. So I hope this is still accurate.
Okay.
This is how I'm going to end the conversation.
All right.
Coach Ruffing McNeil
Coach Ruff.
talked to you, and he said the only thing a man has in this world is his word and what he's known for. So what do you want to be known for?
I want to be known for a person who added, who gave, who inspired, who encouraged, and I want to be remembered for the way that I made people feel. There's a lot of times in my life that I remember that I have made people feel not so good. I either cracked a joke on them, or I either put them down, something like that. And I do not want to do that anymore. I want people to remember me, say, hey, I remember he encouraged me to do this one thing and I went out and did it, or he gave me this one little tip and I was able to do it, or he encouraged me to read my Bible and I did it. So if I can encourage people and inspire people, that's what I want to be known for.
Well, thank you for inspiring me today. Thanks for our chat. So everyone, this is Hollywood actor, social media icon, Joseph Norman. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining with us. I want to remind you to follow us on all of your social media platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.